Chiming in, we're back with our whole gang: Don Luskin, Joe B., Jerry Bowyer, Mike Pinto, Chris Whalen, Steve Moore may or may not reappear. Jerry Bowyer, look, here's what I think they're doing. Judging from what Mr. Paulson said today, he said we're not changing the structure. Mr. Bush kind of said the same thing. Bernanke didn't want to commit one way or another, as you pointed out earlier, to the discount window. Right. But I'm just saying this is a non-backing backing. That's the way I'm looking at this, that they are not going to let it go down. Neither one's going to go down. Right. And so, I don't know. I think it's time to just kind of get off this and sort of go on to other things in the stock market and the rest of the world. The politicians, I don't know, McCain, I don't know if we put the McCain sound up. He's for backing it. Obama's for backing it. Chris Dodd's for backing it, right? There are no Michael Pinto supporters here, and there's no Steve Moore privatizers here. So what is this hullabaloo all about, Jerry? That's what's kind of, I'm still nagged by this question.
Well, if Ron Paul kind of pulls it out and ends up, winning the presidency, then maybe they're in trouble. I agree. I mean, from your lips to God's ears, let it be that we all let this go. But this story, we're going to hear so much about this story over the weekend. We're going to hear so much about it next week. We're going to be in full panic mode.
But it doesn't have to be
maybe it would be better if Bernanke was a little clearer. Say if this story keeps going over the weekend, and I think it will be, to reassert discount window or some kind of backstop, lender of last resort stuff. Yes, sterilized so we don't cause inflation.
How about let him on?
We have to be clear about what the Fed can. We have to be clear about what the Fed can and cannot do here. What the Fed can do by opening up the discount window to the GSEs, all it can do, and this is very important, but it is limited, all it can do is help them with their short-term funding needs. It'll just make sure they don't get a run on the bank. They don't have a credit crisis.
But that's all it should do,
right? But Don, serious question.
But that isn't really their big problem.
There's no run on the bank.
The big problem is that their losses could be bigger than their capital.
That's right.
But they don't need
not a Fed problem, Don.
No,
that's not a Fed problem.
No, they don't need capital.
Right. Look,
and you know what?
Let me just read a number.
That's a worst-case scenario. They might be perfectly solvent.
Here's a number.
Hold on a minute.
Here's a number. Here's a number. Hold on. Joe B., you can come in a second. From this morning's excellent article in the Wall Street Journal. As of April, okay, that's the end of the last quarter, only 1.2% of Fannie's single-family loans were 90 days or more overdue. And for Freddie, it was less than that, only 0.8%.
That's right.
Most of the stuff these agencies have are long-term loans, the jumbos that they themselves guarantee. They're not subprime. So is this is Joe B.
So
go ahead and pick this apart. Is the credit problem as bad as people like Bill Poole and others say?
Those numbers you just gave, Larry, would be normal for a commercial bank, even above normal. Right. But Fannie and Freddie have a tiny fraction of the capital that a commercial bank has.
So they have to raise more. Joe B., weigh in on this.
No, they don't need capital. We've got to talk to the bondholders and say to them, look, you are talking full faith and credit here. We shoot the equity holders, and then we, frankly, take the Moore-Whalen plan, which is to get most of this agency privatized.
So shooting the equity holders is why the stocks are getting killed.
They're dead men walking.
Do you buy that, Joe Battipaglia?
Hey, look, we've been jumping up and down about investment banks being leveraged 40-1 as hedge funds. But by my math, these two guys are at 61-1.
Yeah.
And the dirty little secret in this whole thing is that the government-sponsored enterprises are the U.S. government's SIV. Because that's where all the debt growth has been during the last administration into this one. And if they had to take on the debt, that would mean that the national debt would go up by 50% and immediately jeopardize 100%. That's the mathematics.
Nobody in his right mind is talking about the federal government taking out all of the bondholders and taking $5 trillion onto the federal books. That is ridiculous.
That's the last thing
the federal government would have to do is put in $150 billion to cover the subprime and Alt-A losses, and that's about equivalent to a bad day in Iraq. All right, so let's just not worry about it.
Except that it's an open-ended liability since you now charge them to take on even bigger loans. You already are putting up another $300 billion to try to bail out the homeowner on the other side.
They have a 1% default rate. Can we have a little reality here? They've got a 1% default rate.
Wait, stop. One at a time. One at a time. Jerry Bowyer, you first, then Michael Pinto.
A little reality. Right now, they have a 1% default rate. Now, if we run some kind of terrible scenarios, like 3% default rate,
they're out of capital.
Wait, let me finish. The scenario they've run is Texas oil patch in the 1980s, and their capital structure withstood that scenario. So if we double or triple or quadruple their default rate, yeah, then they're insolvent. But as of right now, they're solvent.
All right.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The housing market is solved.
Hold on a second. Larry, where are the Republicans? I rely on Republicans to espouse free market principles. We don't need Democrats. We've got Republicans doing it for us. Why are we expanding the powers of Fannie and Freddie? They own or guaranteed 81% of all mortgage securities in the first quarter.
Look at it this way. Who's the real regulators? It's the Senate and House Banking Committee.
Right.
What do you expect? They're the real regulators. I don't care who. I don't even know what OFEO is. It's probably some pissant little bureaucratic shop. They have no clue what's going on in there. The Treasury Department is a more august institution. But at the end of the day, it's the House and Senate Banking Committees. Today, in all the news stories all day long, I saw one Republican come up and say no to a bailout. Jeb Hensarling, one of the leaders of the conservatives in the House. But that's all I saw. I didn't see. Hey, Jerry Boyer, I was looking. Senator McCain was right out of the chute today saying, give them everything they want. Give them everything they want. That was McCain's position. What's up with that? Why is he different than Obama? Why is he different than Obama?
On this, he's not different at all. He went back, right back to centrist baseline.
Wait a second. I want to keep
we should not be nationalizing this. We should be shrinking things.
We should have Democrat for Obama and Democrat light for McCain. That's what I'm saying here.
Right, and that's why the dollar is in a free fall. And will break its all-time low very quickly.
Fellas, give me a whip around. Don Luskin, are you going to go back now? By the way, Don, you were right. Stay the hell out of the financials. That's what you've been telling us, and you were dead right on the money. Nice call.
You got to be right about something every once in a while.
No, you nail it, buddy. Now, I want to ask you this. Are you going back to your theme of the inflation play for the stock market?
Yeah, I'm going to be thinking about that over the weekend. I'm right at my fail-safe point. I'm just about to enter Russian radar cover. I think probably, yeah, Larry.
Joe Battipaglia, what do we do if we're stock market investors?
There's still 5 to 10% downside risk in a receding economy. The credit system is broken. It's going to take a lot longer to fix. You stay very defensive.
Very defensive. Mike Pinto, what do you do?
Well, stagflation PE ratios usually bottom in the single digits, and we're far away from that.
What would you own here? You own cash?
I am short the long end of the Treasury, and as you know, I've been long gold.
Right.
And making money.
Long gold's not a bad play, is it?
No.
Long gold stocks,
we have a bailout nation. We have a bailout nation. I own foreign currencies, too. The Australian dollar is doing beautiful.
Jerry Boyer, I'm hearing tons and tons of manure. I'm probably piling manure on at this point. I'm looking for a little pony here, Jerry. You got anything?
The Fed is going to be busy with this for a while, but they're going to catch up with the reality of 20% import inflation at a falling dollar, and they will get back to it soon.
Jerry, how soon do you think the Fed can raise interest rates with Fannie and Freddie facing bankruptcy and insolvency?
How soon can they? Next meeting. They could do it this weekend.
Well, they should do it, but do you think that they're going to do it? Ben Bernanke, as Joe has correctly said, Ben Bernanke wakes up with night sweats, worried about deflation. He's a student of the Great Depression. He's not going to raise rates here.
He has to.
And the dollar knows it, and gold knows it.
Thank you. Don Luskin, thank you. Joe Battipaglia, Michael Pinto, Chris Whalen, Jerry Boyer's got a little more work.